Alright, so finally, with this latest chapter of Black Clover, the twist has been revealed. Our cast of characters from the Clover Kingdom have been doing too well for too long, and so I for one certainly welcome this shift. With the previous chapter, we saw the beginning of the fight between Dante, Jack, and Not. Now, Dante wasn't interested in these two at all, as to him, Asta was the only person who could pose a threat to him on account of his anti-magic. Now, once Dante imposed his gravity magic on the two, Not would reveal to us another Devil Union form of his, one of particular durability. From here, he and Dante would exchange a few blows, but ultimately, the likelihood of not landing a fatal hit on Dante was non-existent. We would then be graced with the backstory of Jack, who, upon recognizing all this and remembering, would have mana blades protrude from all over his form, then slashing wildly at his opponent, actually managing to land a sizable blow at that. Opening up this latest chapter, we have Mereo Leona lighting the ancient demon ablaze, much to the surprise of the resistance forces. And as cool as this is, as much as I love Mereo Leona and her abilities, I hope that this isn't it for the demon, otherwise that might be a bit anticlimactic. From here, the additional less combat savvy members of the Clover Kingdom task force would make their presences known. With this, Ralph would reinvigorate the hope of the resistance forces by speaking of Prince Yuno's ability as a wind mage. The aspect of wind magic was particularly specified here, so I have to wonder if there's any significance to this to which we're not aware of just yet, but I'm not really sure. From there, thanks to one of the devil companions of Not, we'd get a look at the other two battlefields as it was able to move from their shadows, which is a ridiculously useful ability, mind you. He would then relay this information to Not himself, who would be rather impressed by his comrades, who were even more impactful and effective than expected, as furthermore, they still had plenty of time to deal with the Underworld threat at large. And from there, we pick back up from where the last chapter ended, as now, Dante was actually excited by his opponent in the form of Jack. But just as Jack would lunge in for another strike, a large tremor would be felt across all battlefields. The tree of Qliphot's roots had begun to grow rapidly and sporadically. In response to this, Not would swiftly shift his form, and yet again, for the 5th consecutive week, we have yet another transformation revealed to us. Devil Union Mode Felis. And I will say that I like its design a whole lot more than the previous one that Not showed off. And at that, I really love this character. I really do. He is ridiculously cool and I cannot deny it. He is now officially in my top 3, as he would unveil the ability of this form as it was able to peer through all shadows, providing him a secondary sight. With this, he was able to sense a magical presence beyond that of Yami and William. This presence being that of the mad scientist, Morris. He seemed to be floating while surrounded by a great wealth of knowledge, as he'd apparently used Heart Kingdom wisdom to accelerate the growth of the tree. It would then be expressed that in exchange for blindness at birth, Morris was provided immense power as a devil host. So as it turns out, Morris too is a devil host. It feels good to finally be getting more information on this sneaky bastard, but I didn't imagine that he would be so tied to the Dark Triad that he'd be a devil host since birth. Kinda crazy. But with this crazy power, he was able to extract the knowledge of the Heart Kingdom's princess, pulling power and magics from her very grimoire. A sort of manipulation we've known of his handiwork. Now, Not would realize his sudden acceleration, and he knew he needed to do something. He needed to eliminate Morris before it was too late. But just then, 2 devils would suddenly arise from seemingly nowhere. Twins that took our characters by surprise, as Jack was propelled backwards with incredible speed, as Not just barely made it out of the way. And all this was to the surprise of Dante as well, who was now wide-eyed and missing a horn. So it could be that they are incredibly reckless, or they just don't care for Dante at all and they're just enemies to everyone around them that isn't them. Not would then look to the assailants and denote them to be devils of the highest order, as they both provided ominous smiles, speaking of fun. And that was the chapter. Like I said, I have been waiting for things to go bad, but now I'm just wondering how bad it really is. The fact that we have 2 full-on devils right now is terrifying, but again, we still have a busload of reinforcements that come our way, so I'm not too concerned. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to subscribe to Plot Armor with notifications on, and if you'd like to see more anime and manga goodness from us, we have plenty of exclusive content over on Patreon that you are bound to enjoy. Because when it comes to bringing you some of the best Black Clover content on the platform, Plot Armor has you covered. As always, I'm Slice of Otaku. Thank you all so much for watching and have an awesome day. I love you.